Okay, so welcome everyone. So glad to have you on the call today. Um, so this past week was a little bit slow. Not a lot happened. I've been really busy with some client work, extra client work, and I had the conference last week, React Europe, where I presented Blitz, and that went really good. So that took some of my focus. Rudy has been busy with work too, but that's okay. Like there's going to be times where activity ebbs and flows and comes and goes, and so it's just to be expected, par for the course for an open source project where people aren't getting paid. But so far, like everything's going good. We're seeing more buzz and activity on Twitter after the conference, like people suggesting like, "Hey, Blitz is solving this problem," or "You should check this out," or etc. So that's cool. Tonight, in about 5 hours or so, I'm doing a live stream with Kitsy, the Kitsy on Twitter. So I'm doing a live stream with him on Blitz tonight. So that should be fun. See what kind of bugs
He's
we can
going to
find.
roast you.
Yeah, probably. Most likely. Most likely. I actually really like that with his streams because like he's super honest.
Yeah.
He's like super honest. He's like, I had a stream with the AWS guy last week, and their stuff is better. It's like right to the point, which is actually like better than saying like, oh no, this is cool. Oh, it's cool. Those kinds of compliments never work. when someone says everything is good, it like doesn't help.
Yeah. So I'll be taking notes the whole time, probably like, oh, fix this, fix this. So
when is it?
In like 5 hours roughly. I'm not sure. I'm not sure the exact time the stream will start, but you can like subscribe to his profile or whatever to get notifications.
Yeah.
I think it's the Kitsy on Twitch.
Yeah. Kitsa.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny how Americans pronounce European names.
Kitsa.
Like E is not pronounced E, but E. Like,
good to know.
Kitsa.
Good to know. Okay. So the one thing that we just got finished up, a new feature that was just published today in 0.11.0 is the new -- parent flag for Blitz generate. So now you can, before you could run Blitz generate all, let's say, project, and that would generate all the queries, pages, etc. for a project. And now you can also run Blitz generate all task -- parent project. And so that'll generate all the task pages as a child of project. So the route is /project/project ID/task/task ID. And so this is a pretty common pattern. And then the queries and mutations also will attach the task to the parent project. So anytime you have a parent-child model relationship, then this is super helpful for scaffolding that out really quick. So I was really wanting to have that done for the stream tonight with Kitsa, so we'll see. Hopefully it works correctly. So far, I've been really happy with it. And that was done by Adam. He did a great job on that. Adam Marcon. Okay, and also we're going to do a code base walkthrough of the Blitz framework code base on Monday, this coming Monday, May 25th at 11 a.m. UTC. That's also in the Slack
so 2
announcements.
hours from now.
No.
Yeah.
What?
From now. So like in a week, next Monday, but
yes.
It's easier for people who are not UTC to convert this like in 2 hours.
Yeah, and there's a link in the Slack that says like see the time in your time zone in the announcements channel.
Nice.
Yeah. So we will myself, Adam, and Rudy will be like walking through different parts of the code base with the goal for anyone who wants to contribute to Blitz to get an understanding of like how the code fits together, the different packages, etc. And we'll record that and post that too. So if you can't make it, you can watch it later. So that'll be good. And the next thing is plain JavaScript support. I still really want it, but there's just too many issues right now. There's a PR that we merged that we had to revert because of a dependency thing. And this was so the issue is that the code that the files that we generate for the API stuff, the RPC API stuff, the template is in TypeScript. And so when you put that in a JavaScript app without TypeScript, then that fails. And so we need our server compiler to basically automatically compile that with Babel. And we did that with TypeScript, but then we had a problem with the dependency stuff. And so we just need to switch that over to Babel. And then there's still other stuff like the console doesn't work yet with JavaScript and maybe some other issues. So this is something that if somebody wants to has time and wants to focus on something, you could just say, hey, I'm going to take care of get plain JavaScript working, or at least as much of it as you can. There's multiple things to do, and so you could work on part of that. So that's something that's somebody can work on. It's interesting though that we haven't really had anyone that's oh, can't wait till you get JavaScript support. So it's kind of interesting. Okay. Let's get an update on authentication. So maybe Rashab, you can give us an update. I guess,
yeah, sure.
So first, I'll just remind everyone that we posted the RFC for session management in the repo. It's open as a PR. And we posted that a week and a half ago or something. So far, feedback we have gotten has been good, favorable. So we're continuing to work on actually building that. So now, Rashab, you can.
Awesome. So essentially the next step for that is we should write the pseudocode for the whole session management system. And the reason I don't want to directly start coding in is because there are a lot of moving parts. So something, for example, the way you create one of the session tokens would affect how you read or manage it on the front end side. So, and it will also affect, so we essentially have two different ways of doing sessions. One is the essential and one is the advanced. And we want to be able to let users switch between the two without logging any existing user out on their system. So that would also mean that you have to have a complete architectural overview of how the tokens are created, managed, blah, blah, before you can actually start coding in, because if you code in and then you realize that this has a wrong format, for example, then you have to redo quite a few things. So the first step is to write the pseudocode for everything, which is what I'm doing right now. And then, we can just translate that into code directly. That's pretty much it. So it should take about, let's say, a week or something to write down the pseudocode for the whole system. So that includes the backend functions, how it interacts with the database, with database tables, how the backend. So there are multiple layers, right? One is the main layer that kind of handles all the session logic, and using that you build the user interface. Using that you build the developer interface, and you have the front end side as well, which needs to be able to manage the tokens on the front end. So yeah, that's something that'll take about a week from now, and then we can directly start coding in.
Awesome. So you asked me in Slack about Git repo or something for the pseudocode.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
You could probably open a branch or just
we can maybe keep it.
What, Fran?
So sorry, maybe we can keep it in the RFC repo. We have
The
an
drafts.
RFC repo. We can just
We have a drafts repo.
yeah, the drafts repo. Yeah, the drafts repo.
Yeah, that's
We
probably
can,
a good place.
Keep the draft there, and when we finish it, just add it as a RFC. So like add it to the RFC file in the main repo. But for now, we can keep it there.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not sure if I want to add it to the RFC. That would become really, really long. Like
Yeah, not add it to the
would be-
RFC, but like add it as a different document, like if it makes sense. But if it's implemented in code, that's like this is just a draft document to like blueprint. So
Sorry.
yeah, Rashab, I think just add it to the drafts repo as a new PR for a new file,
All right, I can do that.
or multiple files, or whatever you need.
Yeah, at the moment it's just one file, but let's see how it goes. I mean, it's already pretty long, and just function is written, like creating a new session in the essential method. And by the way, I'm not going to. So I think we're not going to implement anonymous sessions right now, right? Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, cool. Sounds good.
All right. Anyone have questions or comments on authentication? I'm going to probably this weekend, hopefully get the HTTP middleware built, unless someone beats me to it. Get that actually built and working in the Blitz code base. And then once I get that done, I will be working on the actual identity verification, so like username and password, how that works, because that's another layer above what Rashab is working on.
Will it also support OAuth too?
Yep. So what Rashab is working on is the session management, which tracks the user session, like whether the user is logged in or out, and that's going to use cookies and tokens and so forth. And that like the identity verification then is Auth0 or whatever, and anything can plug into this session management.
Cool.
So
right, just a clarification point. So OAuth2 is essentially for delegation purposes. So if somebody wants to build a Blitz app, and let's say you're building Yelp using Blitz, and you want to allow other people to get a user's data from your app, that's where OAuth would come in. But if you just want to connect your front end to the back end, like most apps do, that's session management, which is slightly different to OAuth. I can get into more detail as to why it's different and what that implies, but I think that's just wanted to point out that clarification.
Lori, did you ask about Auth0 or OAuth?
OAuth. Yeah.
OAuth. Okay,
So,
sorry. I was
social providers.
okay.
Like Facebook, Google.
So like logging in with other providers, then yeah, that would, like, you could use Auth0 to do that, or I think we'll also be able to support, hopefully we can support any passport provider or strategy, the Express passport package. Like we might be able to have an adapter or something where you could plug in those. So we still have to investigate that, but hopefully. But yeah, ability to log in with other OAuth providers would be good. Okay. What else? Does anyone else have anything to talk about that you want to talk about? Someone, I forget his name. I don't know his name. He doesn't have his name in Slack. Asked about adding a reviewer role to maintainers. So like instead of a level 1 maintainer or a level 2 maintainer, there'd be like a reviewer role or something. I think something like that could make sense. I need to think about it a little bit, like kind of how that would work. But I think it's kind of like a more of a code focused, like level 1 maintainer is more, a little bit more community focused. And so this could be more like, we could have a role that's a little more like code focused where people just want to be like, not worry about issue triage and stuff and more just like actual technical stuff. So I think that would be good. Brandon, that seems like something like that could kind of fit with like how you are contributing. What are your thoughts about it? If any.
So I don't know, like it seems good. Maybe like we could separate it, but I think that's like unnecessary for now. For now, we have like a total of what, 10 maintainers, 10 like completely core team maintainers, level 1 and level 2. I don't know if we like need another level, maybe to like better specify, because like the maintainers level 2. So like for now it's Adam and Robert. Adam on the CI, Robert on the website. So like when I finish tests, it would be good to add me as for tests and add some other people, Rashid for auth and so on, to like more specify when creating PRs, who is going to review what. Not only to review to rely on the code ownership features of GitHub, to more rely on the structure of the team. So for example, when I finish the testing framework, so like I'm working currently with Jest, so like setting up Jest examples that should be auto-generated when you auto-scaffold the whole, so like when you run the generate project. We're also at tests, and I'm working on some Cypress tests, but that should be optional because that takes a lot longer and it's hard to set up in CI. But it's like the unit test should be generated automatically because Rails does like assert true, which is like, okay, and what am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
Also, like create React app, I think like by default does it renders, which is pretty much useless to people. I think that like their templates for like add a button and a state to just like show you how to test an app. Because like having a create React app where the React logo spins and the test be like it passes isn't really useful.
Yeah.
Showing people how to like easily test, like that would still be one file change. Just add a button and a state and show people how to test it and show people how to make like a simple app, because like that isn't a simple app. That's like 3 HTML tags. So like having something like that would be auto-generated seems like a great option. Because we would lead more people into testing, because like people mostly don't do testing because they don't know how and they don't want to because of that, because it's a barrier to entry. RSpec does something in the middle. RSpec generates model tests, for example. So like the validation stuff, RSpec can generate that by itself, and some controller stuff with some other plugins. But like we should add examples for how to test stuff, which would lead to more, actually, not really test-driven development, but like when people realize that that's amazing, so like the tests give you great confidence, like confidence in actually like refactoring stuff, that it doesn't break. When people realize that, I think more and more people will write tests if we show them that very easily. I think that like create React app example is pretty bad because it's like just like it passes and everyone's like, okay, I have test, it passes, it renders. That's not a great example.
Yeah.
I think that's quite important. I'll probably have something by the end of the week.
Cool.
So like the example of Jest, and I already set up the Cypress thing. So we're gonna add that. So like the idea is in the future to add it as an installer. But for now, I'm just gonna add it to the store example, and then we'll generate Jest test by default and add Cypress as an installer later.
Okay.
Because like the one other problem is that Cypress by default, actually like I think pretty much always installs Chromium and Electron as peer dependencies, and it takes a couple of minutes on a faster laptop with a faster internet. So like it could take upwards of 10 minutes to just download Chromium, and it's like 200 megs or something. It's like it's
right.
not really good to install it in a scaffolded app by default. But yeah,
so I think you're right. On the Cypress.
Important.
Yeah, so I think you're right about everything. But this Cypress, while we're here, I, I I hadn't really thought about not including Cypress by default, but I think that's probably a good idea. So it doesn't like get in the way of people who are just doing something simpler.
Yeah.
But then if it's like one command to add it, then that's
Blitz installed
good.
Cypress, and it
Yes.
sets everything up.
Yes.
And like it adds hooks to create Cypress tests when you generate to the CI. That would be like amazing. So like when we just install that, just add hooks to generate that. That's it.
Yep. And then I totally agree on the create React app. It renders thing like not. I hate that too. So I'm currently working on a project where every time you generate a component, it like generates a test file for it, and it renders, and it's just so annoying because it doesn't actually like tell you anything.
It doesn't help you. It doesn't help you in any way.
Yeah. And so I was been thinking about maybe we shouldn't generate any tests by default for components or pages, but only for queries and mutations.
My idea is when you scaffold the whole app, if we can generate senseful tests, so like actually a good test that like tests the whole form and creation and so on, then we should do it. Otherwise, we should just focus on the backend and then add an option to scaffold tests, because they probably won't be great at the beginning. So like maybe we shouldn't force them down people's throat, because like Rails does that and it's super annoying.
Yeah.
I generate a model and I get like, I generate a scaffold and I get a CSS file.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, then let's just focus on the back end. So queries and mutation tests for now. And then we can, once we have like more maybe form generation things set up, then we can see about adding tests for that.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Sorry, I actually have to leave. If there's anything else specific to authentication or session management that anybody wants to discuss, I'll be available on Slack.
Okay. Thank you, Rishab.
Bye. Have a good day, good evening for everybody. Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Anything else to talk about on testing while we're here?
We should actually check. There were some tests. I don't know if we fixed that. There were some tests that were like failing, and then when you reran it, it like worked.
I increased the Cypress timeout.
Okay.
And it seems to have fixed it.
It wasn't actually Cypress. It was with CI. So like in GitHub. So we had the test fail on something, and then I just like reran the test and it worked. So like if that happens again, we should actually take a look at that. Because
I think there was a Cypress timeout in one of those.
So like one of them was a Cypress timeout, but the other one was a CLI fail.
Oh, CLI.
So,
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying CI from GitHub.
No.
Yeah. That's a good question. Like with our long timeouts for tests, like is something wrong, or is it just because we're doing a bunch of stuff?
I was thinking that like that's gonna slow things down in a way, but like maybe try and run it in parallel, but on multiple containers. So like what we're currently doing is we're running sequentially Ubuntu, so like the initial build, then Ubuntu, then Windows. My idea was to try and run Ubuntu integration tests, Ubuntu this, Ubuntu that, so on and so forth. So like we would have like, I don't know, 10 CI steps, but they would all run in parallel, and you would see, so like you would see that only one thing failed.
That would help.
Here, yeah, because like, I think that like if Cypress times out, it breaks the whole build, but if other stuff times out, still does its thing and like it works. But I think that like one of the things, if one of the things fails, other stuff fail. If other stuff fails, it's okay. It's just reported as a fail at the end. But I think it was Cypress, because like when it fails, it like returns a process error. I don't know. I think it's like -1 or something weird, and the whole build failed. So maybe try running it not in parallel in one container, but just like add more containers to it. Just like copy and paste stuff. That could be faster. The like main problem with that is that when we add a new package and new tests, we need to think about adding a new CI container.
Yeah.
That actually might be slower. I don't know. I think we could try
we
that.
might use, we would use up more GitHub workflow minutes,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure.
Actually, it shouldn't be that much more, because like it would be, I don't know, those like 20 seconds at the beginning.
For the build, when you build all the packages.
Yeah. Just because like we have one build step, and then I think we have one build step and store it in artifacts.
If we can build it one time and then reuse it.
Yeah. So like we build it once, and after that, it's like yeah, in the main build and test. What? Am I on the old branch or something? Probably. Okay. So like here, yeah, we have a build and we actually don't. So like we have a build and test thing that like we actually don't need to store stuff, because it's in one action.
Okay.
So like we have a first just like check install time, and after that we run build and test. And build and test is sequential. So like first we build, then we test. We could do, I don't know if it's going to be slower. It probably is, but I don't know by how much. We could try having a build step that stores it in an artifact. So like it just uploads it somewhere. And then other tests just pull the built version and test it. We can try that. Maybe it's going to be faster. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how are we on GitHub CI minutes.
I don't know either.
But like I think that like build is 10 minutes or something. That's a lot. Let me just see.
Yeah, especially the Windows one is pretty long.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. One thing I forgot to mention, or I forgot that I was going to talk about it, is the installers, or they're now going to be called recipes. So we had a meeting last week, Adam and I, with the Gatsby team, with Kyle and John, I think, that are working on the Gatsby recipes. And so what Gatsby recipes are is an MDX file that can serve as both documentation for a recipe and an actual recipe. And a recipe can install packages in your project. It can install code, set up dependencies. So like it can install like Tailwind in one step, or it can install Sentry in one step, or Cypress in one step. And so the Gatsby recipes are a really nice format for writing them. And then they also have really nice tooling for like running the recipes, and then displaying like the results in different ways. So you can have a CLI user interface, and you can also have a graphical user interface. So it's a really nice like core that you can have different interfaces for like displaying what's happening as the recipe is installing. And it can also like prompt the user for information about like, how do you want to name this, or a question or something. So we're really excited about this. And Adam is going to be working to like, I think he's probably tomorrow or this weekend is going to start seeing about how we can start integrating that. And so that'll be really, really nice. So maybe in a few weeks we can have something like prototype working.
So you said that like it's mainly the core that can be extended with GUI or CLI. So like there's an API, a common API that we can easily add to our own.
It actually exposes a GraphQL API.
Okay, so like everything Gatsby is GraphQL.
Yeah, of course.
There's CLIs or everything. How to import an image? Just like 20 lines of GraphQL. What else would you do?
Yep.
Obvious. It's super obvious. Just like type in this query.
Yep.
Obviously, what else?
So yeah, Dylan has been working on our graphical user interface, and they have it working so that you can run a project now. I think create a project. So that's really exciting. So we'll probably see a PR somewhat soon for that. But then yeah, we can integrate recipes directly into our GUI. So you can be like search all the available recipes, click install, and you can see the output right there in the GUI. So that'll make Kitsy happy.
Yeah. You should lead with that. we have an experimental GUI. just like don't talk about CLI. We run everything from the GUI.
So yeah, so I think that covers everything that I had to talk about today. So, if anyone wants to just talk about something and shoot the breeze. Oh yeah, so one other thing actually is I would love feedback from you all now or later, or anyone watching, about if there's anything that I should stop doing or anything that I should start doing. So I really appreciate any feedback. If you have anything here, you can say it, or if you want to tell me later, that's fine too. But yeah, anytime if somebody feels like I'm stepping on your toes or like being rude or like anything, like please just reach out. Like that's not what I want to do. So I really appreciate any feedback on stuff like that.
Nothing like that. Just one thing. So like with Free Code Camp, we're building a chapter that's like a meetup alternative, which is going to be open source. And like since Free Code Camp is like it's completely for a non-profit, it's run from donations. It's like this is the idea, because like since Meetup said they're gonna just like jack the prices recently, and also they currently have a huge problem because like their parent company WeWork is not only leaking money, but currently leaking even more money because like no one is working at their offices and they still have to pay them. Meetup prices are probably going to go up because like pretty much no one is using it right now. Actually, like less people are using it. There are online meetups. So like for that, we also had like these weekly Skypes. So like I think it was like Google Meet or something. But like we would every time we would create an agenda before that in Google Docs, and a couple of people in the chat would actually write things down in Google Docs. And after that, we just like convert to Markdown and post on GitHub. We can like have it in a folder on other, like probably it would be best to just like keep it as a Markdown file in the blog section of Docsaurus. It can like generate blogs. So like just keep it on our site or post it in Slack or somewhere, because pretty much no one wants to go through an hour-long meeting on YouTube to see what happened. It would be easier to just like have it in text form.
Yeah.
That like someone could just type along.
On the meeting notes about what we talk about.
Yeah, meeting notes, who was in the meeting, what was proposed. Like we could, it's like the things you do usually when you create a thread on Slack to add stuff. It's like just those questions, add them to the Google Doc and share the link here. Others can like add it and so on, and then just like convert to Markdown and post on our site or in Slack. But like the problem with Slack is we're on a free tier. We have a lot of people. We're not going to be paying for the more expensive tier, so we're probably going to quite soon run out of messages. Like not run out of the message, but like move that 10K buffer. So like we either move to Discord or we keep it somewhere else, because Slack is pretty temporary for keeping stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it's quite easy to just like deploy it on our site.
That's a great point. I took meeting notes on our very first one, but then I haven't ever since. Yeah. Okay. I'll set something up for next time. If anyone wants, well, I'll think about that and set something up. Thank you for the suggestion. Okay. Anything else anyone wants to talk about? Sean, have you had a chance to do anything more?
Unfortunately not, no, but I will do soon. I need that authentication.
Yeah. Surprisingly, there's a few people that have got authentication working. They're like, they have a custom API route that they're hitting to set the cookies and stuff, and then they're getting like a JWT or whatever in the front end, and then manually passing that down into the query and mutation arguments, and then using it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I
That's
do
kind of
have a
funny.
couple of endpoints in the next project that I could probably wire up that way. Yeah.
But yeah, so we're trying to get out this as soon as possible. So.
Well, hey, I could come and help, I suppose, perhaps. That'd speed things up, maybe.
Okay, well, let's end here, I think, and really appreciate you all being here and your input. And we will meet next week. Will be a day earlier at the opposite time zone, and it'll be at the same. In 2 weeks, it'll be at the same day and time. So, and then the times are on the contributing.md document in the repo, and then also in the Slack announcements channel. So, thank you. Bye.